Welcome to the SmartKeys podcast.
It's great to be here.
I was looking at my kitchen table this morning, which is doubling as my desk and my mail sorting center,
Oh, yeah.
and occasionally my actual dining table. And I had this realization that we're living this weird sort of split life.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the office and the home just crashed into each other at 60 miles an hour, and most of us are just, standing in the rubble trying to find a decent Wi-Fi signal.
That is a very vivid and, unfortunately, a very common image. It's the great blurring. When you don't have that physical separation, leaving a building, the chaos of urgent emails and the chaos of sorting laundry, they just merge into one big, stressful soup.
Exactly. And that is precisely why today's deep dive is so timely. We're looking at a really comprehensive guide. It's titled Remote Work Habits. Use boundaries and routines to stay productive.
Okay.
It's by Felix Römer from smartkeys.org. And honestly, this isn't just another top 10 tips to organize your desk list. This feels different.
It is different. What Römer is getting at here isn't just, surface-level productivity hacks. He's framing this as a strategic resource for the future of work. We're talking about 2026 and beyond.
Right.
The core idea is about professionalizing the home environment. It's moving from, I'm just working from home today, to, I am running a remote office. That mindset shift is what builds trust and ultimately autonomy.
I love that distinction, professionalizing the home environment. Because, let's be honest, in the early days of remote work, we all got a pass for the messy room or the bad audio.
Sure, everyone was scrambling.
But now, it's part of the job description. So our mission today is to really unpack this article and extract the specific rituals, the tools, and I think the mindsets that turn that frantic, overwhelmed remote worker into a reliable, high-performing asset.
Exactly. And it all starts with a fundamental shift in how we view our daily actions.
Okay, so let's dive right into that core philosophy. Römer talks about this concept of remote work habits, but he defines it in a very specific way. He says it's about consistency in tiny actions. Why focus on the tiny stuff?
Because the big stuff is usually taken care of, right?
Yeah.
You have a project due. But the tiny actions, those are what replace the physical cues of an office.
What do you mean by cues?
Well, in a building, you have the lights dimming at the end of the day, the boss walking by your desk, the buzz from the conference room. Those are all external signals that tell your brain work is happening. At home, you have to manufacture those cues yourself.
And consistency makes them stick.
Consistency makes the day predictable for you and for your team.
And one of the biggest challenges with that lack of cues is visibility. I think a lot of people struggle with this. You're working hard, but nobody sees you. So the instinct is to just be loud.
Constant slacks, a million emails.
Exactly. But the article says, don't
Yeah.
do that.
No, absolutely not. That is the trap. Römer draws a really sharp line between what he calls presence and noise. You want presence. You do not want noise.
But wait, if I'm not making noise, how do they know I'm working? Isn't silence dangerous in a remote role?
Silence is only dangerous if it's unexplained. The noise approach, CCing everyone on everything, chiming in on every single thread, that actually signals insecurity. It says, look at me, look how busy I am.
And it's distracting for everyone else.
Terribly distracting. Strategic presence is about answering the question, what are they doing? Before anyone even has to ask it.
Okay, so let's unpack that. What does strategic presence actually look like in practice?
It starts with sharing progress early and often, but, and this is key, using the right channels. The article details a visibility strategy.
Okay.
The main tactic is using asynchronous posts for status updates and saving live chats for nuance.
So don't interrupt everyone's flow just to say, I finished the report.
Exactly. You post a short note on your milestones or your blockers early in the day. It's about signaling. By doing that, the team knows what to expect from you. If you post at 9 a.m. saying, I'm digging into the Q1 data, we'll have a draft by 2 p.m., you've bought yourself 5 hours of silence.
Ah, you've created a container for deep work.
You have. And your team trusts you're filling it.
That makes so much sense. It's proactive, not reactive. You're getting ahead of the, hey, you there message.
Precisely. It's about respect, really. Respecting their focus while proving you're maintaining yours. And speaking of focus, there's this concept in the article of the honest calendar. This one hit home for me because my calendar is, well, it's a lie.
Just blank space where people pick meetings.
Yeah, exactly. And that is a recipe for disaster in a remote setting. If your calendar looks empty, people assume you're available. The honest calendar is a communication tool. Römer advises publishing your hours, your focus blocks.
And even lunch breaks.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a stigma there. If I block out an hour for lunch, aren't I just advertising that I'm not working?
You're advertising that you are a human being who needs fuel to perform. But strategically, it prevents that agonizing back and forth scheduling email chain.
Oh, the worst. Are you free at 12? No. How about 12:30?
Right. By blocking out that time, you signal that you manage your time intentionally. It shows you have boundaries.
So it's not just about defending your time. It's about telling your team, I am a professional who plans my day.
Precisely. It builds trust.
Mhm.
If I see you have a deep work block from 9 to 11, I'm not going to ping you. I'm going to respect that you're doing high-value work. If it's just blank, I might interrupt because I assume you're just, clearing your inbox.
That is a great segue into how we actually structure those blocks.
Yeah.
Section 2 of our deep dive is all about designing the day, and there's one ritual here that I am absolutely going to steal.
Let me guess. The plan tomorrow tonight ritual.
You got it.
This is one of those habits that sounds deceptively simple, but the psychological mechanism behind it is so powerful.
So break it down for us. How does the expert suggest we do this?
It's straightforward. Before you log off for the day, before you close the laptop, you write down one clear objective and the very first task for the next day.
Just the first one, not the whole to-do list.
Just the first one. The whole point is to eliminate decision fatigue in the morning.
Decision fatigue.
Think about your morning. You wake up, maybe you're a bit groggy, you open your laptop. If you have to decide what to do, your brain will naturally gravitate toward the easiest thing.
Which is usually checking email. Oh, I live there. That's my morning routine. Panic and reply.
Right. And that means you are starting your day on everyone else's terms, not yours. You're reacting, not creating. By deciding that first task the night before, you protect your morning focus. You sit down, you don't have to think, you just execute. You start with a win.
It creates momentum. I love that. But the article also mentions that when you do that, task matters, right? It talks about chronotypes.
Yes. And this is another area where remote work offers a huge advantage over the traditional office. In an office, everyone is on that same 9 to 5 assembly line. But biologically, we aren't all built that way.
So if I'm a night owl, I shouldn't be forcing myself to do deep creative work at 8 a.m.
Exactly. The source suggests you need to identify if you are a lark, a morning person, or an owl. If you're a lark, block that deep work early. That's your prime time. But if you're an owl, reserve the morning for light admin, clearing the decks, and save those heavy lifting hours for later in the day when your brain is actually online.
It's about working with your biology, not against it. Now, here's where it gets really interesting for me, and maybe a little controversial. The professional mindset at home. I have to ask.
Yeah.
Be honest. How often do you work in sweatpants?
I plead the fifth.
Laughs. Fair enough. But Römer has a pretty strong stance on this. He talks about dressing one level up. And I have to push back a little here. Isn't the whole point of remote work that I can be comfortable?
It's a valid question. But he isn't talking about vanity or impressing your cat. He's talking about a psychological concept called enclothed cognition.
Enclothed cognition. Okay, that sounds fancy.
It basically means that what you wear affects how you think. There have been studies on this. If you put people in a lab coat, they pay more attention to detail than if they are in street clothes. The source advises dressing one level up specifically for important calls. It shifts your confidence. It's a signal to your own brain that we are in professional mode now.
So not a tuxedo, but maybe a collared shirt instead of the hoodie. It's like a costume for the role you're playing.
Exactly. And it helps create that mental boundary we talked about. And it goes beyond clothes. There is a pre-meeting ritual mentioned too. Tidy the desk, open the specific apps you need, gather your notes before the call starts.
Oh, that is huge. There is nothing worse than that awkward 10 seconds where someone is like, hang on, let me just find that file.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen? No, wait.
It just kills your credibility. It makes you look disorganized. Being ready to go the second the camera turns on, that is a power move in 2026. It shows you respect everyone's time.
Speaking of the camera turning on, let's talk about the environment. Section 3 is about optimizing your environment and tools. And the expert here says ergonomics is regular maintenance.
Yes, it's not a one-time setup. You have to keep tweaking it.
Right.
Monitor at eye level, lumbar support. If you are in pain, you can't focus. But the visual aspect is where the article really leans in. Römer argues for intentional backgrounds over those blur filters.
Now, hold on. I always thought the blur filter was the polite thing to do. It hides my mess.
It hides the mess, sure, but it also creates a barrier. It feels artificial. You know that weird halo effect where your ears disappear if you move too fast?
Oh yeah, the ghost ear effect. I hate that.
It's distracting. It triggers this tiny bit of distrust in the viewer's brain because it looks uncanny. The source suggests choosing a tidy wall or a nice shelf. It looks more professional, more grounded. It says, I have a dedicated space for this.
You're inviting them into your office, not hiding your home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about authenticity and the camera itself. Eye level. This is non-negotiable.
Right. Not looking up your nose.
Nobody wants that. But placing it at eye level builds trust because it mimics real eye contact. And while you're in the meeting, focus. Avoid side chatting in apps.
That is so hard to do, but it's critical. If I'm talking to you and I can see your eyes darting around reading Slack messages, I know you aren't listening.
It says my time isn't valuable to you.
Now, the article drops some specific tech recommendations here too. It's not just about willpower, it's about using hardware and software to help you.
Right. On the hardware side, they mention devices with features like neat boundary. This is really cool technology. It's a feature in some smart cameras where you can define the width of your view.
How does that work?
Imagine you're at your kitchen table. You can tell the camera, only capture this 3-foot wide box around me. If your kid runs past in the background, or your dog jumps on the couch behind you,
The camera just ignores it.
it literally blocks them from entering the frame. It's a lifesaver. It removes the anxiety of, what if someone walks by?
That is amazing.
And another one is neat symmetry, which frames faces and clears audio. These are purpose-built tools to reduce friction. You aren't fighting your tech. The tech is smoothing the road for you.
And for the software side, for those of us who get distracted by, well, everything.
There are apps like Forest or Zero Willpower.
I've heard of Forest. That's the one where you grow a tree, right?
Yes. You plant a virtual tree, and it grows for, say, 25 minutes. If you leave the app to check Twitter or Instagram, the tree dies.
It sounds silly, but I bet it works. I wouldn't want to kill the little tree.
It works because it gamifies focus. It adds a tiny bit of friction to checking your phone, and sometimes that's all you need.
And for prioritizing, the source mentions frameworks like Eisenhower or Eat That Frog.
Eat that frog, do the hardest, most dreadful task first thing in the morning, combine that with the plan tomorrow tonight ritual, and you are pretty much unstoppable.
So we have the mindset, the setup, the tools. But why? Why go through all this trouble? Section 4 gets into the why it matters.
Yeah.
And it connects all these habits to deep work.
This is the crux of it. The author references Cal Newport here. The quote is something like, you should schedule and tally deep work to retrain attention and lower the cost of interruptions.
Retrain attention. That sounds like we've actually broken our attention span.
I think we have. The constant pinging has atrophied our ability to focus. We're so used to that dopamine hit from a new notification that sitting with a hard problem for an hour feels physically uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So the article suggests tracking your daily focus minutes as a metric. Start small, 25 or 50-minute sessions. You are literally building an attention muscle.
That's a great way to look at it. You don't go to the gym and try to lift 300 pounds on day one.
Exactly. And as that muscle grows, your output quality grows. That is where your value comes from, not from answering emails. Fast AI can do that. Your value is in the deep thinking, the synthesis, the strategy, and that requires focus.
But work isn't just about us being robots, doing deep work in isolation. There is a human side to it. The article talks about relationship building.
It's harder, which means it has to be more intentional. You can't rely on serendipity, bumping into someone at the coffee machine. You have to manufacture those moments, virtual coffees, casual check-ins.
But there's a balance, right? I feel like mandatory fun is the quickest way to make your team hate you.
Oh, absolutely. Nothing is worse than, it's Friday at 4 p.m., everyone get on Zoom for a forced happy hour. The key word is calibrate. It shouldn't feel like a chore. It can be as simple as a random channel in Slack for pet photos or weekend hikes.
Just to keep that human connection alive. Now, we have to talk about the flip side of all this productivity. Burnout. Because when your office is your living room, it is so hard to stop working. The article talks about the hard stop.
This is critical, a firm unplug time. But here's the hack.
Yeah.
You have to attach it to a real activity.
So not just saying, I'm done at 6.
Right, because if you just say, I'm done, and you're still sitting on the couch, you'll check your phone. You need a trigger. A walk, dinner, a workout class. Something that physically removes you from that work mode.
You have to simulate the commute.
You do. The commute was annoying, but it served a purpose. It was a decompression chamber. You need to build a virtual one. And the source also mentions pre-booking an off day each month.
I like that one.
It's preventive maintenance for your brain. Don't wait until you are fried to take a day off. Schedule it in advance.
Okay, we are coming into the home stretch here. Section 5 is about the future and keeping this whole system running. Because habits tend to slip, don't they?
Entropy is real. That is why Römer suggests the maintenance mindset. He talks about audits.
Audits sound scary, like taxes.
Not that kind of audit. Think of it as a tune-up, a weekly calendar audit. You look at your meetings. Is that Tuesday update meeting stale? Could it be an email? Drop it. Shorten it.
Oh, that is satisfying. Deleting a useless recurring meeting is one of the best feelings in the world.
It really is. And then a quarterly tool audit. Are you using apps that are just causing friction? Sunset them. And then regularly decluttering your digital and physical workspaces.
It's about staying lean and efficient.
It is. And if we look at the future outlook, the author summarizes that these aren't just tips for today. This is the skill set for the future workforce.
Autonomy, reliability, measured outcomes.
Exactly. And that's the big takeaway. We are moving away from hours in the seat to results delivered.
Which brings us to that final provocative thought. Shifting from tracking minutes to tracking outcomes. That changes the entire dynamic of employment, doesn't it?
It changes everything. If you are good at these habits, if you can deliver high-quality work without needing to be managed constantly, you become incredibly valuable. You gain freedom.
You gain freedom because you have earned trust.
Exactly. You are trading visibility as noise for visibility as results. You stop being a worker who needs to be watched, and you become a sovereign professional who delivers value, and that is a trade that every employer will take.
That is a powerful place to land. It's not just about surviving remote work. It's about mastering it to own your career.
Absolutely. It's about taking control of the environment so the environment doesn't control you.
Well, this has been an incredibly practical deep dive. I feel like I need to go clean my desk, update my calendar, and maybe download that Forest app.
It's contagious, isn't it?
It really is. I want to thank you for walking us through this. So many great nuggets in here.
My pleasure. It is a vital topic for where the world is heading.
And I want to thank you, the listener, for tuning in to the SmartKeys podcast. If you found this helpful, please hit that subscribe button. We are constantly exploring the future of work, and you don't want to miss what's coming next.
And do yourself a favor, read the full article by Felix Römer. We covered a lot, but seeing the diagrams and the full breakdown in the text is really worth it.
Absolutely. We have linked it right there in the show notes for you. Go check it out. Until next time, work smarter, not harder.
Goodbye, everyone.